What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Zebulon Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Isaiah, and we are live once again, y'all. And today we have to talk about Kentucky hiring Mark Pope as their next head coach. And y'all, I got to be honest with you, I really am not a big fan of this hire. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this thing started. How's everyone doing? I hope you're doing well. So, y'all, Kentucky has their new head coach. And I really do not understand this hire because Kentucky is one of the most prestigious basketball programs in men's college basketball history. And they just hired a man whose resume is not that great considering he's at Kentucky. Now, if he was at some other school, his resume would look pretty good. But at Kentucky, his resume does not look too hot, y'all. So let's talk about they hired Mark Pope. So let's look at his resume. So he has 187 and 108 career record. You're like, okay, Zay, that's pretty good, right? Pretty good, right? He's won 63% of his games as a head coach. Okay, it's good. He had a 112 and 52 record at BYU. Again, pretty good. He won 68% of his games at BYU. He has 620 or more win seasons. Again, you would say, Zay, that's pretty good. And he had a 49 and 29 record. 49 and 29 conference record at BYU. That's a 63% win percentage. Again, all things you would say, Zay, good. But y'all, he has never won a conference championship, and he has never won a game in the NCAA tournament. But this is who Kentucky hired. And look, I get it. It's a feel-good story. It is. Because for those that don't know, Mark Pope played at Kentucky back in the day. From 1994 to 1996. So I get it. Bringing a former player back to be your new head coach. But y'all, this is Kentucky we're talking about. This is a program that has not won a championship since 2012. And that is a big reason why they wanted John Calipari fired. Or they wanted him to leave. And he did the latter of the two things. He left because they were upset that they have not won a championship since 2012. They have not been to the Final Four since 2015. But yet you're hiring a man that has never won a game in the tournament? Really? He has never won a game in the NCAA tournament, y'all. And now he's coming to a program that's going to expect him to eventually one day take them back to the Final Four and championship and win it. And he has yet to win a single game in the tournament. Y'all, Kentucky did not want Mark Pope. And you know how I know that? Because they wanted Scott Drew. They wanted Dan Hurley. They did not want Mark Pope. Let's just be honest. They did not want him. He was not their number one option. He wasn't even their second option. He was their third option. Okay, once they knew they were not getting Scott Drew and Dan Hurley, then they're like, you know what? Why not? Let's hire Mark Pope, former Kentucky player. This is a great story. And let's see what he can do. It's like they were like, yeah, we want Mark Pope. Y'all, he was not their first option, okay? For those that do not know, Mark Pope was not Kentucky's first option. They did not want this man. They only wanted him once their other options did not want the job. So my grade for this hire, y'all, I give this hire a C- because Pope wasn't on Kentucky's radar until their other options declined the job. I don't think Pope can live up to the lofty expectations that come with being the head coach of Kentucky. I wouldn't be surprised if he is fired in 5 years. Seriously, y'all. Mark Pope might be gone in 5 years. He signed a 5-year deal where that might be his only contract at Kentucky. 5 years. Because I don't know if he's ready for what's about to hit him. Kentucky is totally different than BYU. Let's just call it spade a spade. Totally different than BYU. You don't have the expectations at BYU the way he's going to have it at Kentucky. Kentucky expects championships, man. They expect multiple Final Four appearances. Again, these are all regions they wanted Calipari gone. Why? Because he had not won a championship since 2012, and they had not been to the Final Four since 2015. But then you go from John Calipari to Mark Pope. Come on, man. In the tough SEC, where you got Bruce Pearl and Nate Oates, John Calipari, now he's at Arkansas. Buzz Williams at Texas A&M. Man, the SEC has some really doggone good coaches. And you have Mark Pope, a guy that has never won a game in the NCAA tournament. A guy, y'all, that the most wins he's had in the season is 24. And again, that's good. Okay? That is good. But at Kentucky, they expect greatness. They expect greatness. They don't care about you winning 24 games. That's not good enough for them. They don't care about you having a good conference record. As he did at BYU, really good conference record. They don't care about that. What can you do for us in the tournament? Where can you lead us? How far can you take us? And so I just really do not understand why Kentucky went this route. I get it. Scott Drew, Dan Hurley, they didn't want the job. But you mean to tell me there wasn't a better coach than Mark Pope that would have wanted to be the head coach of Kentucky? I find that hard to believe. Find that very hard to believe. And so now if you're Kentucky, you went from having a head coach in John Calipari, who you knew year in and year out were going to have top 5 recruiting classes, to a man in Mark Pope. You don't even know if you're going to have a top 30 recruiting class in the nation with him. Seriously. Because think about this, y'all. Why in the world would kids want to come to Kentucky? For what? To win? Kentucky's not even a top 5 program right now, men's college basketball. They're not. So many programs have ran past them, including in their own conference. Alabama is better right now than Kentucky. Tennessee is better than Kentucky. Auburn's better than Kentucky. South Carolina looks like they're on the rise. So why would kids want to come to Kentucky? What, because of NIL? Well, everyone has that at their disposal now. So it's not even like Kentucky's the only school that can offer kids money. Everyone has that at their disposal, y'all. Why would I want to come here? Oh, because we're going to win? We hadn't even been to a Final Four since 2015. You haven't won a championship since 2012. So why would I want to come here? And now, the reason that, let's just be honest, y'all, the reason that a lot of these kids the last 4 or 5 years have been coming to Kentucky is because of John Calipari, because he's one of the best recruits of all time. He really knows how to talk to kids and their families. He's amazing at that. Can Mark Pope do the same thing? I don't know if he can do the same thing. And you're talking about, y'all, a Kentucky roster that a lot of those guys are gone. Rob Dillingham, gone to the draft. DJ Wagner, gone to the draft. Reed Shepard, declared for the draft. Right? Antonio Reeves, we got to see with him. But, y'all, I just don't understand this. I mean, Kentucky, this is the best you could do. Mark Pope, really, the best you could do was him. All these elite coaches out here, you couldn't convince not one of them to come be the next head coach for the Kentucky Wildcats. Are they that scared of the pressure, the expectation that's there? I don't believe that, y'all. Kentucky, the problem was y'all had 2 coaches on your mind. That was Dan Hurley, Scott Drew. And once they declined, you didn't know where to turn. You didn't know where to go. So you just like, we finna swing for the fences, take a chance on a guy that hasn't even proven anything yet. But we'll hire him because he's a former player. And hey, it's a feel-good story. Y'all, sports is not about feel-good stories, okay? It's about results. Those that get it done, get it done. Those that don't get it done, get fired. Period. That's how sports works. So if Mark Pope does not get it done, he will get fired. It's not like the Kentucky fan base is going to be like, no, don't fire him. He's one of our former players. No. They're going to be like, get him up out of here of Lexington, Kentucky. If he cannot deliver championships, if he cannot deliver Final Four appearances. I know that fan base, y'all. That Kentucky fan base is really, really, really brutal. Okay, now they really love you if you win. But if you fail to meet expectations, man, they will criticize you very, very harshly. You all just saw the way they did John Calipari. And he did win. Okay, I know he only won one championship. At least he won one. I don't believe Mark Pope will ever get a championship. I don't even know if he'll ever get to a national championship game. I don't even know if he can get to a Final Four game. Just being honest with you, I don't know if he can do this. I don't have confidence that he can do it. Do y'all? Y'all feel like Mark Pope can really get to the Final Four? Can get to a national championship? I don't think he can do it, especially since there are so many good teams in men's college basketball. Now, I don't think there's an elite team outside of UConn. UConn's the only elite team, but there are a lot of good teams. Houston, North Carolina, Tennessee, Gonzaga, Kansas. A lot of good teams. And you got teams on the rise like Colorado, South Carolina. Right? So there aren't a lot of great teams. There aren't a lot of great teams in men's college basketball, but there are a lot of good teams in men's college basketball. A lot of good teams in men's college basketball. Okay, and I'll be right back, y'all. Be right back. All right, y'all. Appreciate you for bearing with me. But what I was saying is, before I left, is that there are a lot of good teams in men's college basketball. And so because of that, it has really increased the competition the last few years. That's why we're seeing these teams go on these Cinderella runs. Because there's really no elite team outside of UConn. A bunch of good teams, but no elite team. And so, these teams, they kind of beat up on each other. So Kentucky's not even a dominant program like they used to be. And I just don't understand this hire. I don't get it. But that's Kentucky's fault because they were just expecting, I guess, Dan Hurley or Scott Drew to come to the rescue for them. And them guys said, nope. Dan Hurley never was interested. I think Scott Drew might have been, interested in it a little bit, but he said, no, I'm staying at Baylor. So definitely have to blame Kentucky, y'all, because they should have had more than two coaches like on their radar, but they didn't. They wanted to swing for the fences. And if you're a Kentucky fan, I know you got to be really pissed off about this hire. You have to be, because you go from John Calipari, who I know for all of his shortcomings, y'all, he's still one of the best head coaches in men's college basketball, period. Still is an amazing recruiter. You go from him to Mark Pope, a guy that has never won a game in the NCAA tournament. And now, y'all, he's going to be expected to lead Kentucky back to the national spotlight. And I just don't think he can do it. I just think it's too much pressure for him. To be a head coach of Kentucky, you have to be a really, 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 really strong person. Right? Mentally. I don't think Mark Pope is that. That's why I was hoping they would be able to get like a Scott Drew or Bruce Pearl even. I know Bruce Pearl has some baggage issues, but they would be able to handle it. Man, that Kentucky job comes with a lot of pressure, a lot of expectations. You have to produce championships. When I say championships, y'all, I ain't talking about SEC tournament championships. No, I'm talking about national championships. Because if you're not able to do that, that Kentucky fan base is going to turn on you so quick. I'm telling you, look at what they did with Calipari. And Calipari got them one championship. And they still turned their back on him. Because they were fed up. They were like, okay, Calipari, yeah, you won a championship. But, man, that was 12 years ago. As Janet Jackson once said, y'all, what have you done for me lately? And obviously, lately, Kentucky has not been the dominant program that they have been for so many years, for so many decades. And now they're expecting Mark Pope to bring them back to the national spotlight. I just don't get it. So, y'all, before I get up out of here, I have some questions for Mark Pope. These are questions that Mark Pope will have to answer. So the first question is, can he be an elite recruiter like Calipari? Again, y'all, I know a lot of Kentucky fans were tired of John Calipari. And I do think it was probably time for them to go their separate ways. But at the end of the day, one thing that cannot be disputed is that John Calipari is a great recruiter. Period. I don't think Mark Pope is going to be a great recruiter, y'all. I just don't see it. I don't think he's going to be able to convince kids, no, don't go to UConn, don't go to Gonzaga, come to Kentucky. The way John Calipari was able to do it. He was able to convince them, don't go to UConn, don't go to Duke, don't go to North Carolina, don't go to Gonzaga, don't go to Tennessee, come to Kentucky. Because here we have a chance to win a championship, and if you play well, you have a chance to be a lottery pick. But with Mark Pope, he just doesn't have that same touch the way John Calipari did. And Kentucky fans, y'all going to find that out very quickly. Y'all not going to be getting all these five-star players like you did with Calipari. That's just facts, okay? You're not going to be doing that. Okay? You might get 3-star, 4-star players, but you're not going to get those 5-star players. You're not going to be getting, having a recruiting class that you just had last season. You're not going to have a team that's full of 5-star players with like Andrew Harrison, Aaron Harrison, Anthony Davis, Michael Kidd, like all those players. You're not going to have those kind of players. You might have one or two, but you're not going to have a roster full of those like you had with John Calipari because y'all, kids wanted to come there. Why in the world? I keep saying this. Why would you want to go to Kentucky now? Really? Unless that's been your dream to play basketball for the University of Kentucky. But if that hasn't been your lifelong dream to do that, why would you want to go there? It's not like Kentucky is the best program in men's college basketball. And all these teams, like I said a few minutes ago, all these teams can throw you that bag. They can throw you that money. It's not just Kentucky. So Kentucky fans, y'all going to learn the hard way. That's why I said. That old saying is, y'all, be careful what you wish for. Y'all wanted John Calipari gone. Well, he's gone now. And again, I do think it was time for y'all to go your own separate ways. But I also feel like John Calipari was kind of pushed out the door, so to speak, especially by the fan base. Now, I don't know if the athletic director, if he wanted to get rid of John Calipari or if he wanted John Calipari to leave, but that fan base definitely wanted him to leave. Well, okay, y'all got your wish. Now you got Mark Pope. Y'all going to be getting those same 5-star players? Is your roster going to be loaded of 5-star players? I don't think so. The next question, y'all, can his offense translate to the tough defense in the SEC? Now, a lot of people have been going on and on and on. They've been raving about Mark Pope and the elite offense that he had at BYU. Okay, that's great. Can you do that in the SEC, though? When you're going against Texas A&M and Buzz Williams, when you're going against Auburn and Bruce Pearl, when you're going against Rick Barnes in Tennessee, when you're going against Lamont Paris and South Carolina, those are 4 really, really good defensive teams in the SEC. Can you do that with them? Because, and this is no disrespect, y'all, no disrespect to the West Coast Conference. And then obviously we know this past season BYU moved to the Big 12, but no disrespect to the West Coast Conference. But y'all, they don't have the teams that the SEC has when it comes to defense. The SEC has some of the best defensive teams in the country. I just told you, but Texas A&M, Buzz Williams, Tennessee, Rick Barnes, Auburn, Bruce Pearl. Can his offense still be as prolific as it was at BYU? Can it translate, y'all? Or will we start to see his teams have problems scoring? Because I think they're going to have problems because, y'all, he's not Nate Oates. And I know Alabama is one of the best offensive teams in the nation, okay? But Nate Oates is one of the best offensive-minded head coaches in men's college basketball. I don't think Mark Pope is one of the best. He's good. Don't get me wrong. He's good at coaching offense. But can he be elite? Because that's what it's going to take. You have to be elite in the SEC. Because of those defensive teams I just named, you have to have an elite offense. You got to be an elite offensive-minded head coach. Not just good. Because good is going to get you beat. Right? Good is going to have you scoring 50, 60 points a game. So, again, I know everyone's been going on and on about Mark Pope and the offense that he had at BYU, and that's great. But it didn't even help him in the tournament. Y'all didn't help him. Right? I get it. They had the number 14 ranked offense in terms of offensive efficiency. That's amazing. Amazing. But did it help him? No. Did he ever win any tournament games because of his prolific offense? No, he didn't. He kept getting bounced in the NCAA tournament. I'm telling y'all, it's a different style you have to play in the SEC. I feel like Alabama is the only team that can play the way they do. Because 1, they had the head coach, and 2, they had the personnel. Okay, Kentucky, y'all don't have the coach, at least in my opinion. And right now, you definitely don't have the personnel to play the way Alabama does. Alabama can score 80, 90 points a game. I don't think Kentucky's going to do that. I think they're going to be around probably 65, 70 points per game. Maybe even a little bit lower than that, depending on what Mark Pope is able to get on this roster. Because right now, he doesn't have anything to work with on this roster. So we have to see what he's able to acquire to load up this roster, if he's even able to, quote-unquote, load it up. So, yeah, y'all, this is going to be a huge transition for him. Because, again, no disrespect to the West Coast Conference and the Big 12 this past season. But he has never went up against the defensive teams in the West Coast Conference and Big 12 the way he's getting ready to go up against them in the SEC. And you're talking about coaches, y'all, that are elite defensive-minded head coaches. Rick Barnes. Man, that's one thing you know about Tennessee. Their offense can be very shaky at times, but their defense is always going to be on point. And they get in you, too. Tennessee gets in you defensively. Man, they got a point guard by the name of Zakai Ziegler. This brother, he will guard you 94 feet. He will pick you up 94 feet, y'all. So Tennessee gets after it defensively. Auburn's the same way. Y'all know Bruce Pearl. He's a tough-minded head coach. Lamont Paris in South Carolina. He's been preaching defense. That's why South Carolina has such a good defense. So I just want to know, what is he going to do when it comes to trying to score on those defensive teams? My next question, y'all, can he make adjustments at halftime when going against Bruce Pearl, Nate Oates, Rick Barnes, etc.? Again, he's never went up against the coaches in the West Coast Conference and Big 12 that he's getting ready to go up against in the SEC. He's never done it, y'all. Never, ever done it. Can he do it? Because he's going to have to do it. Because Bruce Pearl's going to make some adjustments now. Nate Oates, he's going to make a ton of adjustments. Rick Barnes, same way. Now, John Calipari, he's not the best X's and O's head coach, but he'll make adjustments. Can Mark Pope match them? Or will we see him get out-coached? And I'm telling you, Kentucky fans, hear me loud and clear when I say this. When y'all lose some of the games that you're going to lose this upcoming season, it's going to be because of your head coach. It's going to be because y'all going against Rick Barnes, and Rick Barnes is a better head coach. It's going to be because you're going against Nate Oates, and Nate Oates is a better head coach. It's going to be because, say y'all go up against Gonzaga and Mark Few, he's just a better head coach. It's going to be because you're going against North Carolina and Hubert Davis is just a better head coach. I know people don't believe this, but y'all, coaches can lose you a game. They can lose you games, plural. I've seen it happen, okay, in the NBA. And I love Doc Rivers, but he has lost his team multiple playoff series because of his lack of adjustments. Then I've also seen teams, y'all, win games, win playoff series in the NBA because of their coaches, like Greg Popovich. Now, obviously, the San Antonio Spurs have had plenty of talent throughout their years of being a great team, but they also had one of the best head coaches in NBA history that was able to make adjustments on the fly. So, again, Kentucky, some of these games y'all going to lose this year. It might not necessarily just be because the other team has more talent. It's going to be because the other team has a better coach who's able to make adjustments. You have to be able to do this, y'all. This SEC has too many great coaches. Too many great coaches. And I already think Kentucky is behind. I think they're behind the A-ball because I think Mark Pope. I mean, y'all, these are the coaches in the SEC that I think that's better than him. Rick Barnes, Bruce Pearl, Nate Oates, John Calipari, Lamont Paris. That's already 5. And I'll probably throw Buzz Williams in that group as well. So that's 6 coaches. So Kentucky, I think y'all probably have like the 7th or 8th best head coach in the SEC. So that's not great. I mean, seriously, that's not great. Because when it's halftime, it's time to make adjustments. It's time to regroup. And you don't have a head coach that's able to do that. But then the team you're going up against, they have a head coach that can do that. Well, it's going to show. And Mark Pope, I just feel like he is going to get out-coached a lot this season. And then, y'all, my last question, and I'm finna get up out of here, is can he handle the Kentucky fan base who will want immediate results? And I touched on this a few minutes ago. Y'all, this Kentucky fan base is hard. Okay? If you're doing really well, you're winning, and I'm talking about like seriously winning, they'll love you. Okay, 7, 8, 9 years ago, they really loved John Calipari. These last 3 or 4 years, not so much. Man, this is a fan base that will change on you so fast. I'm telling you, they will really change on you. One day, they'll be singing your praises. The next day, they'll want you gone. You got to be a special kind of person to handle that. Because a lot of people, y'all, they wouldn't be able to handle it. You got to be mentally tough to be able to withstand all the negativity that's going to be around you when you are failing to meet their expectations. Because when you go to Kentucky, y'all, a school like that, forget just about the AD. Man, you got to live up to the expectations that the fans have. Man, you talking about Kentucky, y'all, is one of the most prestigious basketball programs of all time. Some of these people have been fans for like 40, 50 years. And they've passed it on to their kids and grandkids. And I think that's what's so special about the Kentucky fan base. Because a lot of those people, y'all, they are from Lexington, right? They're from there. Again, their parents, their grandparents, their aunties and uncles were born Kentucky fans. Now they pass it on down. So you just have generations of Kentucky fans, right? So they've seen the great times with Kentucky. And they've also seen these last few years where Kentucky has not been one of the most dominant programs in men's college basketball the way they should be. So they've seen both sides of it. They want to get back to being one of the best programs in men's college basketball. And if Mark Pope cannot bring them back to that, they are going to want him gone, y'all. And even this season, okay, this coming up season, it's really going to say a lot about if he can really handle this job or not. Seriously, it's going to say a lot. Because the fan base, you already know they're going to start saying stuff like, oh, why do we hire this guy? Because they already saying it now. So just wait. If Kentucky starts the year like 6-4 or 7-5, something like that, y'all, just wait. You're going to start hearing it. Say if they start SEC play 3-5, you're going to start hearing it. Can Mark Pope block out the noise? Or will he respond to the critics? Because you got to be able to block it out. You got to stay focused. You can't worry about what the fans are saying. Because at the end of the day, you're still the head coach of the team. So you got to be focused on that. But y'all, it's tough. It's hard. Now, John Calipari, he was able to handle it. But that's who he is. Y'all know how John Calipari is. Y'all know his personality. He's able to handle that. Bruce Pearl is able to handle that. Scott Drew is able to handle that. Rick Pitino, as much as I don't like Rick Pitino, but he's able to handle that. You talking about strong man. Mentally, y'all, and you have to be. Because when you're at a program like Kentucky and the expectations are so high, you have to be mentally tough. Because that can be draining. I mean, I know it can be draining. I know it has to be. Because you're talking about one of the best men's college basketball programs of all time. You're not just talking about a team, y'all, that has like a 15 or 20-year history. No, you're talking about a program, decades and decades of being dominant. So many great players have played at the University of Kentucky. And now you are expected to win championships, to make Final Four appearances. So you really have to be mentally tough. You have to be locked in, totally locked in. Again, this is going to be totally different from Mark Pope, y'all. Because at BYU, they didn't have expectations. Y'all remember back in the 2019 season when they won 24 games? Man, I remember seeing it on SportsCenter. Their fans were so excited. They were excited because they won 24 games. And they were headed to the tournament. Now, obviously, they weren't able to participate in the tournament because of the coronavirus pandemic. But they were very excited about winning 24 games. Man, Kentucky, Their fan base doesn't care about winning 24 games. No, they want to win rings, y'all. So that's the difference. Can Mark Pope handle that? Because what he might deem as a successful season, their fan base is going to say, man, this was an epic failure. So he might think a successful season is going 25-10, going to the tournament. Because that's what he, that's really what he did at BYU, win about 22, 24, 22, 23, 24 games, go to the tournament. So he might think that's what success looks like. Not in Kentucky, man. Success in Kentucky is at least going to the Final Four. But ultimately, the success is winning national championships and being one of the best programs in men's college basketball. I'm being able to sustain that. Because that was the problem with John Calipari. He got off to a really hot start at Kentucky. But then obviously these last few years, it kind of cooled off. And that's why the fan base was ready for him to go. So Mark Pope, let's see what you're going to do, man. Because I'm telling you, if you do not meet expectations, that fan base is going to want you gone. I know Mark Pope, former Kentucky player. That fan base is not going to care about that, y'all. Doesn't matter to them. Heck, it doesn't matter to them now. Okay, I've seen some of the comments on social media. A lot of fans are like, what in the world are we doing hiring a man in Mark Pope that hasn't even won a game in a tournament yet? And we're trying to get back to the Final Four. We're trying to get back to being a national championship contender. And we hired a guy that hadn't even won a game yet. How in the world can he win multiple games in the tournament and he hasn't even won one yet? So for Kentucky, man, they took a major swing, y'all. A major swing. Right? Because we don't know if Mark Pope can handle this. They really wanted Dan Hurley. They wanted Scott Drew. But there was definitely no way in the world Dan Hurley was leaving Kentucky. Why would he leave UConn to come to Kentucky? Let's be honest. With what it looks like a dynasty that he's building up in Connecticut. Why would he leave that? They just won back-to-back championships, and they literally won every single game in both of those tournaments by double digits, blowing everybody out. Why would he leave there to come to Kentucky, y'all? Let's be honest. So, no, he's not going to do that. And Scott Drew was like, hey, I love what I have at Baylor. He's been at Baylor, since like 2003? I think he's going to retire a Baylor Bear. And that's what he wants to do. So he was like, nope, I'm good. We don't even know if Billy Donovan, the Bulls head coach, we don't know if he was ever even interested. I know some fans want to Rick Pitino. We don't know if he was even interested. I think Rick Pitino actually likes being in St. John's. Obviously, y'all know he's a Northeast guy. So now he's like back, in his neck of the woods. So I don't even know if he would have wanted to even come back to Kentucky. I think he likes, especially now, Rick Pitino is older, being close to his family. I'm assuming he has like grandkids, stuff like this. So I'm pretty sure he loves being able to like be close to them. And so really, when you look at it, no one wanted this job. It said, of course, Mark Pope was going to take the job. Why wouldn't he? Of course he's going to take the job, man. To go from being BYU's head coach to Kentucky's head coach, who wouldn't take that job? Everyone is going to take that job. Right? But can he handle the pressure that comes with being the head coach at Kentucky? That's what's going to come down to, y'all. If he is, maybe he'll surprise all of us, right? Maybe he'll surprise me. And this one ain't working out. If he isn't able to handle all that pressure, y'all, this is going to be an epic failure. And in 5 years, Kentucky will probably be looking for a new head coach. And that fan base, oh my gosh. Y'all, that fan base, you thought they were mad now because they haven't been to a Final Four in 9 years. They're going to be really, really pissed off if it ends up being 15 years since they've been to a Final Four. So, Mark Pope, let's see what you are going to do. So there I have it. That is me reacting to Kentucky hiring Mark Pope to be their new men's basketball head coach. Man, I hope y'all enjoyed the stream. Let me get to a couple of these comments. I think Kentucky's women's team will have a more successful season next year than the men's team. Yeah. Nikki T is right. I think so as well. Seriously, I think so as well because Kentucky women's team, as y'all know, about 2-3 weeks ago, I discussed this, and we also watched his press conference. But Kenny Brooks, y'all, and Kenny Brooks is a really, really good head coach, and I think he's already a top 5 head coach in the SEC. So Kentucky has him. There's a good chance that they could bring Georgia Amore over from Virginia Tech. So if they're able to bring her, they already have one of the better point guards in the country. And you know, Kenny Brooks is going to do things he's going to do a lot to really improve that roster. Okay, don't think some of the players you saw on that Kentucky roster last season are going to be back, y'all, because they're not. They are not. So some of them girls, you might want to go ahead and enter their portal, okay? Because Kenny Brooks, he's not doing that. Okay, this is the man the last 3 years at Virginia Tech has been one of the best head coaches in college basketball, been one of the best head coaches in the SEC. This is a man last season went to the Final Four, so he's ready to win now. Kenny Brooks ain't got time for playing. He's ready to go right now. He's ready for Kentucky to be probably a 23, 24, 25 win team this coming up season. And I know that's high expectation considering the way Kentucky has been the last 2 years. But Kenny Brooks is a great head coach. He's a really great recruiter as well. So, yeah, Kentucky, I agree with Nikki T. I think they're going to be better. I really do. I do. Because they have one of the best head coaches in the SEC. I think Kentucky, man, y'all have the 7th or 8th, like I said a few minutes ago, y'all have the 7th or 8th best head coach now. That's not good. That's not good at all. Coach Brooks is that man. Yes, he is. I see my man John here. Yo, what's going on, man? Appreciate everyone for tuning into the live. Did y'all enjoy it? Yeah. Hope you did enjoy it. Y'all, I will be going live yet again 3 times. 3 times on today at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time doing my New England Patriots mock draft. As I think I posted this in the community tab maybe last week or a couple weeks ago. I want to try to do NFL mock draft for every team. Now, I will tell y'all this is going to be hard for me to do that because I am, doing WNBA content and NBA content, NFL content. So it's going to be hard. And with that NFL content, it's not like I'm just doing like mock drafts, right? I'm, trying to bring Titans news and news about other teams as well within the NFL. So I'm going to try, y'all, to do a mock draft for every team. But I will say this, if I'm not able to get to your team, then I'm sorry. Because it is a lot, right? I've already done 2. I've done the Bears, Commanders, and tonight I'm doing the Patriots. After this, y'all, I still got 29 more teams to go. And I only got 2 weeks to do it. So we're going to see. I'm going to try to get to as much as I can. But, y'all, again, for those that I might not be able to get to your favorite team, I'm so sorry. It's not because I'm doing that intentionally, but it's just because I am trying to cover so many sports and that I might not be able to get to every single team. But I'm going to try my best to do so. But, yeah, let me repeat, y'all. Come back here to Zaymallah Sports Podcast, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I will be doing my New England Patriots mock draft. So I hope y'all will tune in for that. Hopefully I have some Patriots fans that come up here. Maybe some of y'all in the stream right now are Patriots fans. How are y'all feeling? Patriots fans, we know there's a lot of rumors about y'all being interested in a certain quarterback. And I know it's not the quarterback that y'all want. So we'll get into that on tonight. Remember, y'all, laughter's good medicine. So make sure you get your daily dose. Y'all know I'm going to end it. I love y'all. God bless. Peace.